I'm Diane Busuttil, and I'm an Australian artist, dancer, choreographer and film director, and I just took part in the FREEFALL series and brought a piece called Living Room Legend, which is a character I've been working on for many years. Her name is Barbara Kay. She's an elderly character, and that's what I did in the glass cube. Years ago I did international Sydney dance festivals, and that's where she came from. So she's a little old lady, and the juxtaposition of her story was, I used the frailty, which is the automatically assumed thing when you see an elderly character, and then I play on that little sympathy, and then I toy with it. So back then I had a Zimmer frame, so she would get about on her Zimmer frame. And I never forget, it was a bit of a gold medal for me. I caught the bus from the town hall, Sydney Town Hall, to Circular Quay where we were performing, and I was in character, and I said that I was fussing around, I couldn't find my concession card, and somebody helped me put the Zimmer frame in the section where you put baggages, and the bus driver gave me an elderly concession card, and I still have it in my diary to this day, because it was really like a gold medal for her. So that's where she came out of. And then she went into the circus with Circus Monoxide. And then I did this thing where people, she was limbering up, and maybe she would need somebody to come and help her lift her leg and put it on the Zimmer frame and do her little stretches. And then once I gathered a crowd and people were interested, I did this whole acrobatic routine intertwined and in and around the Zimmer frame. The last development that I did with her came out of a research in Essen, in Germany, at Pakt Zollverein, and then at the Fabrik Potsdam. And I worked with what I knew of Barbara Kay, and also with the character from the film Requiem for a Dream by Darren Aronofsky. And I didn't work on the drug issue, but more on the mental states of being lost and being in a state of delusion all the time. And what I really liked, there's a song by Eurythmics, Legend in My Living Room, and this idea that in the confines of your own space you can invent yourself, you can be royal, you can be loving, you can be what you want. So she had all of these things going on, and she had a relationship to the television. So I was also researching people that don't leave their houses because they have relationships to furniture and equipment. It's a real disease, apparently. So in this phase, she was addicted to her television, and the series of delusions that she went through were all television genres. So she had a country and western thing going on, she had a romance thing going on. She ended up making love to the television, and they were good lovers together because it was a regular thing. So in this installation, I focused less on the objects and more on the mental states. And then what I discovered, there was something in between doing and being busy all the time, and just being. And being is like in a state of softness, in a state of calm. There's a very sad element to her in her authenticity. And what I like, not only in this performance, I do another performance called Lonesome Town, and totally different character, different thing, but I work actually with failure and being so authentic in a particular state that is ugly and confronting for other people to see. So they would therefore consider it as loneliness, failure, not being able to achieve something, sad. I find these things very interesting, and they're all states of vulnerability. They're all varying states of vulnerability, and I think every human has that in our authentic state. We can't always be productive and busy and doing there is a place where we just sit with ourselves. Definitely my work resounds physically, as I'm trained as a professional dancer, and gosh, in all the years I've learned a lot of different styles. I did tap dance for 8 years, and that was kind of a main thing, and then I went into dance theatre and also combined that with acrobatics. Worked in dance theatre for like 15 years basically, and then got an injury, and even though I'd always been doing yoga, then I focused on the yoga again. So I don't know, for me I find I can communicate easier by expressing it in my body. That's somehow my first language. My interest in the film work was, well, first of all I had these ideas and I wanted to do this film work. Or with the first film we were at Lake George. I don't know if you know that. It's just outside of Canberra, Queanbeyan. And there's a myth that there's another lake in New Zealand, and when the lake goes dry in New Zealand, Lake George is full, and vice versa. First time I went there, I had this grand epiphany, and I really wanted to do a performance there. And I thought, how am I going to bring everybody to this, odd spot? So I thought, it has to be a film. So it came out of necessity. But then again, I'm a performer first. Film, for me, resolves the problem of subjective-objective. There's constantly an objective and subjective, and for me personally, that's one of the advantages that I have. I can really exist in both roles quite strongly, and I never do anything too fast. So I just brought out a new short film at the beginning of this year called Fresh Fruit, which is playing around at different festivals. It's kind of a fun short film. And at the moment I'm working on a documentary called Gender Seed, and it's about people that live fluidly in between and or involving identities of being a woman or man. So they're sort of gender fluid, you could say. I've got a couple of people from Germany that I've interviewed, and I hope to do 2 people in Australia, so it's a German-Australian. And it's fascinating that people are just walking their own paths, because our world doesn't really cater to too much outside of those binary forms.